All right. Hey, welcome everyone to the Vikings Playbook Podcast. And as always, your Sunday starts here. Have another amazing show for you guys today. And I have with me today no other than Mark Anderson. He's the super fan contributor on fantasy15football.com. So he's working with me on the other podcasts that I do and website that I run. And you can follow him at Bleeds Purple on X. And again, Mark, he's a huge Vikings fan. He's been on with me before. And I'm going to go ahead and welcome Mark on the stage with me. Mark, how are we doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing well. Even wore the hat to match the photo tonight.
Well, I appreciate you and everyone else joining us tonight on Vikings Playbook. I saw some of the folks on there like Bob Swede and Northfius. These guys were already here almost 30 minutes ago. So Bob Swedes, and Norris, I appreciate you guys hanging out and already, just ready to get after it. So I appreciate you guys joining us for sure. And then just 1 second here as I'm going to go ahead and try to make sure this is running. I don't see it running on my X. I don't know if it's, can anyone confirm, is this running right now on X? I don't see it running live on X for some reason. I don't know why it's not catching the stream on X for some reason.
Go to search.
Is it running live? For some reason, I don't see it running live on X yet. So some kind of a bug there. But regardless, hopefully you're following us already on either X, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. North says, I don't know. I only watch on YouTube. That's okay. Hey, Two-Tone, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it, brother. Hey, if you guys are already following us on YouTube, you're already in the runnings for a chance to win a Jordan Addison jersey. So Jordan Addison autographed jersey. Once we hit 250 subscribers, we're over 100 now. We're at 105. We're going to keep pushing. Here, better for you guys to see it. Both sides. It's a pretty one there. Okay, so you get the whiteout Winter Warrior type theme jersey for your Minnesota Vikings. All you got to do is subscribe on YouTube to win. Please help me out by sharing the show to friends or other Vikings fans as well, too. Plus, it gets us a little bit closer to that goal even quicker. As always, as we've been doing on the show, we're also doing card breaks. So with that, what that is, those card breaks that we're doing is every time I do a podcast, I'm going to do a card break at the end. And for those of you that are listening in, you're going to get an opportunity to possibly win this card. So it could be a valuable card that I end up pulling out of this pack, or I have other packs I'm going to open and introduce throughout these streams as well, too. But you're going to have the opportunity to either guess a player or a team. I'll let you know depending on the pack that we're opening, and you're going to have a chance to win. So you could actually win a pretty valuable card to add to your collection or sell and collect the money for it. It's really up to you. And as I said, Mark is with us from Fantasy 15. So if you guys watch us on the Fantasy 15 podcast, and if you haven't already checked it out, fantasy15football.com. Not only are we going to provide you with the 2026 draft kit, Mark's actually the brains behind working with our online rankings that we're going to have, waiver wire advice, sit start recommendations, and then we're also going to have what's called our Fantasy 15 fan chat. It's going to have an opportunity for you guys to collaborate with other fantasy football owners and either start up leagues together, but you can also collaborate, bounce different advice off of them and our moderators, contributors at Fantasy 15, like myself, Mark, and Ryan. But you can catch us as we get closer. It's going to be every Wednesday, and I think we're actually going to change this to 9. So I should probably even just change this poster. But it's going to be Wednesdays as we get in the Fantasy 15 season. We're going to start, or the Fantasy football season. We're going to start getting you every Wednesday and bringing you updates as you can prepare for your draft and then getting into the season to continue to do that. But you can check us out as well on all of our Instas as well. Insta, X, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and that's all Fantasy 15 FB for social media. But check out the website, fantasy15football.com. Looking for individuals that want to join Mark, Ryan, and I in a Fantasy 15 league that will also be featured on the podcast. So very cool. If you like Fantasy 15, or say Fantasy football, you can be featured on the Fantasy 15 podcast with either bragging rights of how well you're doing, or someone might see that you're not doing so hot, at least in that league. But go ahead and check that out. Join Mark and I all season long with Fantasy 15 football. All right, Mark, we're here to talk about Vikings football tonight. And, we had some big, important news that popped up. We added some more firepower to our offense, and that's super exciting stuff. There was a lot of different rumors as far as, where we're going to go after maybe an old running mate of Kyler Murray's, DeAndre Hopkins, which is somebody I was also interested as well, too, for the price. And then also, take a look at, Keenan Allen. Are we going to look at Deebo Samuel? Is Tyreek Hill a possibility? These were all names floating around, and one of them that was also out there was no other than Jauan Jennings. So Jauan Jennings, he signs with the Minnesota Vikings on a 1-year, $8 million deal with incentives that can reach $13 million. So big addition to that Minnesota Vikings offense. And what are your initial thoughts when you heard that? Because he came to town, he did the 2-day meet and greet with the Vikings, left without a deal. Probably looking at other teams as far as, can someone beat this offer? Is there a better situation? So there was feelings, we didn't get him. Why did we let him leave the building? But then he signs. What are your thoughts as far as Jauan Jennings? Was he the best option out there? Norsefius is online. He says Jauan was the best option. But what's your thoughts? Was he the best option out there? And what are your feelings once you saw that he signed, Mark?
I do think he was the best one out there. I mean, D. Hopkins, he interested me, but he's getting a little bit up there in age. So when Jauan Jennings came into the building and they were talking to him, I was like, I got pretty excited. I think that's a big body that we can put in there. And when he left, I was a little disappointed. I thought, well, they missed the opportunity. So I really didn't think it was there. So when I saw the tweet out that he had signed with the Vikings, like, yeah, I better go double check that, triple check that to make sure it's not just somebody putting it out there. So yeah, I'm very excited to see him in purple. And his blocking, I think, is going to be tremendous for us.
And I got to tell you, with Jauan Jennings and, him signing with the Vikings, I have to get a purple hair wig.
Yep.
My job won't allow me to have purple hair, but if I can get a wig, a Jauan Jennings wig or whatnot with purple hair, if he has a big game this year, you're dang right. I'm probably going to be wearing it for a podcast. Yeah, I'm going to have to keep my eye out for that. Can't wait to see the purple hair, that he's going to be rocking this season. And, Jauan Jennings, he comes from the 49ers. Last year, they didn't have Brandon Ayuk. Pearsall was injured, so he got featured a little bit more. George Kittle was out with an injury for part of the year. He ends up with 9 touchdowns. The year before, when they didn't have all the health problems, he still managed to have 6 touchdowns. So he's a very capable receiver, and one could argue that for a lot of teams, he's maybe a wide receiver too. And we're getting him, at a pretty good deal for $8 million. That's actually, he was looking for wide receiver 2 money, and we were able to get him for $8 million. What a win for us to have him as a wide receiver 3 and willing to come in. And we can't forget that Jauan Jennings is a very capable, very good actually. Like it's one of his skill sets. he's a good run blocker.
Yep.
And he's willing to play that role. You know, how instrumental is that going to be for our run defense as well? Or sorry, our run offense as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch him out there. Right, like I mentioned, you know, getting him out there and being able to block. I mean, just that downfield block. You get somebody who bursts the Claiborne. You know, if he actually gets out there in some third down play and can break it, then you got Jennings out there blocking for him. I'm excited to see it. I really am. I was very happy to see that to come into play.
I'm just, and I'm sorry, Mark, if you want to talk a little bit, just because I'm having issues with X right now, I'm just going to send out a couple tweets here so people can, if they're trying to join on X, so they know that they need to go to YouTube here real quick. So if you want to just talk a little bit more about Jauan Jennings and how you think he's going to fit in with Kyler Murray or potentially J.J. McCarthy.
Right. You don't know, you know, from that perspective. That where I was headed with this one is I saw an interesting perspective when we signed him. That, you know, they were talking about the Gennard trade to the Eagles for the 2 third-round picks. Somebody actually went, we really got 2 third-round picks and Jennings because of the money that freed up with Gennard leaving. We can sign somebody like Jauan Jennings, and I thought that was kind of an interesting twist to. If you included that into that trade, into that portion of it, like, all right, I can take that in there. But I definitely see him fitting in really well, right? Being that third guy, you've got the speed guys, you've got those guys. He's going to be that tough guy that you know, gets the tough catches, will be out there in the middle, you know, taking some of those defenders away. It's like, you want to double JJ, you know, Jefferson, you want to double Addison, you know, you're worried about Addison going deep. Great. Jennings will be there underneath, you know, along with Hawkinson, I think. So I think that's just going to give Murray just one more weapon out there that really goes through there. I was pleasantly surprised that they actually made something like that happen. I really figured that Ty Felton would be our guy as the number 3. Not that is a bad thing, but we just don't know, right? With Jennings, we've got it. Norsefius, I agree with you. The 3rd and 1, right? Third and 1. You know, I love that chant. I think we're gonna have to get that going as well. So it's an exciting time for us.
Yeah, and Norris is saying the 3rd and 1, and you know, he came up clutch with not just big catches, but you know, big blocks. And we've seen clips of him just outright bulldogging a defender out of bounds. You know, finishing the play. We got Zoe from In the Zone Sports online. Hey, my guy. Hey, Zoe, you're my guy too, man. He was on with me last week. Zoe's an incredible guy out there in the Vikings sports world. So he's always providing really good updates on what's going on within the Vikings. So if you're not already following Zoe, make sure that you're doing that. The dude's all over the place. So make sure that you're checking him out as well too. Of course, I didn't turn off my my autofocus, so it's wanting to play games right now with me too. So got all kinds of good stuff going on. All right, and then Bob Sweet says, I'm more hyped this year, more than most, but I'm always hyped. And I think that's a lot of Vikings fans. You know, we're always hyped going into the season because we haven't been let down. We don't know what's going to happen or how many injuries we're going to have, or we look good on paper, right? But yeah, I'm hyped as well too because it's hard not to get excited with what we at least look like as an offense. TJ PDX is in the house. Hey, he says, what's good, everyone? We're doing good over here. TJP, hopefully you're joining us for a good portion of the show. Remember, we got that car break towards the end of the show as well, too. So if you're joining us for that part of it, you could be eligible to win that card as well, too. And if you're not already, make sure that you're checking us out. I also write for Purple PTSD, and one of the things I'm going to talk about here with Jauan Jennings also got featured on our sister website. Now, for Purple PTSD, if you're not already following us, purpleptsd.com, A lot of good Vikings content out there daily. We have several articles that are going out, so check out not only myself, but a lot of our other good writers and our sister website, actually VikingsTerritory.com, had a really good article that a lot of us writers were involved in, and that was from Dustin Baker. And that was talking about some of the free agents we target for the Vikings after the Jauan Jennings move. Now, these were some of the staff picks that we had, and I'm just going to read off some of these. And the very first one was Henrique Gucciardi, and that was Kyle Van Noy as an edge. So after trading Gennard, basically what he's saying is we need an experienced edge rusher, with Dallas Turner and Andrew Van Ginkel. And I think a lot of our writers felt the same way. So listen to some of these additions. Tony Schultz said, hey, we should go after a safety because we don't know if Harrison Smith's coming back. So Xavier Woods was someone that he's saying we should maybe look to go after. Ted Schwerzler saying Joey Bosa. Again, another edge rusher, right, for added depth. Now, Joey Bosa only had like 5.5 sacks last year and played in 13 games, but he's still a very capable pass rusher that can provide pressure. Cam Jordan. All right. So, Saints guy, his dad was Steve Jordan, but he, at least on social media, he doesn't exactly shown that he's got a lot of love for the Minnesota Vikings. So I don't even know if that's even feasible. But he had 10.5 sacks last year. He'd be an incredible asset. I just don't think I don't know, and a lot of that could be the team that you're playing for. You hate them, just like we've had several Packers that hate the Vikings, but then become Vikings. So definitely could happen. Wes Johnson didn't think we needed to add anybody. Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
No. I was just going to add on Cam Jordan. I actually volunteered at the Super Bowl. So I was part of the volunteer crew, the Super Bowl that was in Minneapolis, and actually had like a 20-minute, half-hour conversation with Cam Jordan. And that was right after the Minneapolis Miracle. And he was like, man, as being a Vikings fan, it's like you took the game from us. We had it won, and then you blew it. And it was an interesting perspective just talking to him. It's like, so I'd like to see him there just because I've had the conversation with him and bring back the Jordan name to
Steve Jordan was an amazing tight end.
Yeah.
So here's the
interesting.
No, you're fine. So here's the interesting thing. So after Cam Jordan, and again, there's still a theme that everyone's thinking edge rusher. So now myself, Cole Smith, Ali Siddiqui, Brevin Bain, and Yannick Eckhart, all of us threw in Jadeveon Clowney's name. And the reason for that is, I think he's looking for it's probably going to be a short-term deal. He's, getting towards the end of his career. He still managed to have 8.5 sacks last year, and I just really think that this was my synopsis on it. The Vikings still lack depth at the edge position behind Dallas Turner and Andrew Van Ginkel. By adding Clowney, who had 8.5 sacks last year in 13 games, the Vikings gain a rotational pass rush threat that could provide additional pressure on the quarterback and depth on a cheap one-year contract. That kind of move is ideal for the Vikings' current cap space and needs. So, yes, we did get Jauan Jennings a lot cheaper than I thought that we would. So that could change some things, but still, you got to sign your rookies and everything else like that. I'm not exactly sure what the contract would look like for Jadeveon Clowney or Cam Jordan, but both could be options here. And I think edge rusher in the depth there seems to be the consensus, at least between our writers at Purple PTSD and Vikings Territory, as far as the position to add. You guys in the chat, what do you think? Free agent that's out there, who should we be looking to sign? Are we on? Is there somebody that we're missing that could be on the radar for us or should be on the radar for us? Let us know in chat for sure. All right, so next question with this. Now, we signed Jauan Jennings, which it was surprising. We didn't really budge on our price, right? So he came in. Rob Brzezinski had basically said that we're not going to overpay for people. Basically, that's what we did. I mean, he showed us that's what he's going to do. But by signing Jauan Jennings and getting that done, did that now lock Rob B as GM for the Minnesota Vikings. Now that, it definitely didn't hurt him. It definitely helped him. But when we take a look at the list of candidates that are out there, and this is in no particular order. This is just the 8 candidates that we know of that's out there. Rob Brzezinski, the Vikings interim GM. Terrence Gray, his name has been brought up a lot lately. He's the Buffalo Bills assistant GM. He was a former Viking scout. Dave Ziegler, Tennessee Titans assistant GM. RJ Gillen, San Francisco 49ers assistant GM. Nolan Teasley, he's with the Seattle Seahawks. He's an assistant GM. He's a former scout as well. Ryan Grigson, I don't think this is a serious candidate. Minnesota Vikings assistant GM. I've been on mic and on record on social media saying I don't think that's a serious thing. I think that's an obligatory type deal. If he was a serious candidate, he would have replaced Kwesi when he was fired. I was surprised he wasn't fired with him. But the fact that he didn't replace Kwesi and he stayed here and you put Rob B as the GM, there's no way in my mind that they hire Ryan Grigson when Rob B's on the board, if that was the case. Chad Alexander, he's the Los Angeles Chargers assistant GM, and then John McKay, which we've heard a lot. Guys like Jason Harbin, some others really like John McKay. Los Angeles Rams assistant GM, has at least connection and ties with Kevin O'Connell when he was with the Rams as well. Your thoughts on this list, and your thoughts, did the Jauan Jennings deal, did that kind of lock him in? Is this now just an obligatory search? Or is it still just, it helped him a little bit?
I think it helped him. I think they're still going to look. I think he's great at the cap management and all of those, the negotiations and things. Is he the right guy for actually looking at players, right? The evaluations, those sort of things. So I kind of like this one right there, right? I put in Gray as the GM would be my 2 cents. And if I was looking at hiring, obviously I'd look at all of them. I would definitely want to keep Rob on staff. I mean, he's been great. Everybody, everything I've read and heard, from the agents, et cetera, that's like he's amazing to negotiate with. And I think that's great, finding cap space, doing all those things. But I think you really need somebody who can come in and evaluate players better in a GM role. Personal opinions.
Yeah, I mean, so I looked at, I know a lot of people are high on John McKay, and coming from the Rams, and the Rams have done a lot of really good things. I think just some of the worries with John McKay would be coming in here and just, how buddy are you with Kevin O'Connell? And, but I think the same thing can be said for Rob Brzezinski as far as the relationship he has there. There are other people that are negative on Terrence Gray because, he's been in this organization before, so he's got, some of those ties, and some people just want somebody that's completely out of the organization that has been on a winning team. You look at Teasley, he's coming from Seattle. They just won a Super Bowl. I do like the idea of bringing in somebody from an organization that has a winning culture and seeing what it takes to win. But I'm not mad if it's Rob B.
No, I'm not either.
I'm not mad at it.
No.
Now, I might do a few things if it was Ryan Grigson. But if I look at the list, I mean, nobody's like, there's nobody on there that I'm like, we have to lock him down.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the interesting thing on there. Norris also says he doesn't want any more O'Connell crossover. And I think that's, and Norris, you can tell me if I'm right on that. You're talking about like somebody that has ties to O'Connell, like John McKay. Yeah. I think that's what you meant to say by that. And I definitely could see that. There's been a lot of people that have had that same sentiment with John McKay.
Do you think with Rob B and the draft, a lot of feedback and things that I was reading and hearing was, did the coaches have more say into it than a normal GM would have allowed because of that? So did he let Flores come in and say, pound the fist, I want Banks, right? And just sit back and let the coaches do more of the drafting than the GM would have.
Sure. I mean,
it's another potential, again, not against him, but just is it a thought to that where you need to bring in somebody else that can have that sort of tiebreaker vote.
right. Yeah. I just think we need to have a GM that's there to do the job. That's not going to feel like um, the coaches have more power than they do as a GM,
Yep.
especially if they may have to make tough decisions like firing, an individual, potentially even Kevin O'Connell at some point, in the future, if it's just not working out. I know this is super annoying, Mark. I'm gonna put you on the screen by yourself. I'm gonna jump off and jump back on and fix my focus.
Yep.
Just because I'm OCD, and it's so I'm just gonna jump off for a second, letting you run the show for just a second.
No worries. Bob, I see you were talking about some more of that fantasy football league, those sort of things. We are working on the best way to do that. As Steve kind of put out there, I came in. I'm a computer nerd, so I'm working on trying to figure out the website as far as all of the rankings, being able to put those sort of things out there. So we're kind of working on that one first, and then the fantasy league will be kind of coming after that. So we've been in discussions on what we want to do with it and how that's going to work. But as far as the league, I was just answering Bob's question about the fantasy league.
Yep.
Hey, it's coming, and we're just working on the website and the ranking stuff first, and then it'll be coming after that.
See how much better this is?
Much better.
The autofocus is
just I appreciate it. It was driving me nuts, and so I was trying not to look at you, but I hate looking at me on the screen. So
yeah, Bob, if you're interested in that, definitely let me know. We're trying to get enough people to make an interesting season out of it. And again, it'll be featured on the Fantasy 15 podcast. And I think it's just another thing that's going to be fun. We're also going to do a pick'em league throughout the season, just additional things that make the pod a little bit fun. And also we can talk about trades that are happening and sit and start dilemmas that we were maybe having to where we can share with you where, it's real stuff that you're able to see and, maybe even share because some of you guys are on here too. The sneaky thing is that you're going to get to see Mark, myself, Ryan. You're going to see who we like each week, and that's maybe dangerous. But we're willing to talk about that. Is there a buy-in? Bob Swede says, yeah, there will be some kind of buy-in for that. Nothing crazy, just because we're doing it for the pod, but there will be a little bit of a buy-in for that. But yeah, I think it's going to be fun. So, yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. All right. So on to the next topic that we have. Now, with Jauan Jennings added to this offense, this is pretty dynamic stuff. So the Vikings offense in 2026 now, whether it's Kyler, whether it's JJ right now, it feels like it's going to be Kyler. He's got 87 starts under his belt compared to JJ's 10. The experience factor, you brought him in here for a reason. But with this offense, adding Jauan Jennings, you got Justin Jefferson, you got Jordan Addison, you got TJ Hawkinson, those four receiving threats. Don't forget a pretty good receiving threat out of the backfield is Aaron Jones. And then you got Jordan Mason, that two-headed monster at running back that we have. And we have a healthy offensive line. All right. And I think we solidified some things at center with Blake Brandel. I think he's definitely going to hold on, take that starting center job. And, Rob B and the coaches showed faith. They could have taken a center. Mm-hmm. They could have taken a center early. They didn't. And that was, I've wrote a couple articles on that saying that I thought Blake Brandel should be our starting center in 2026 and that I thought he could do it. And it seems to me that the coaches think the same thing. So for at least this year, this is the last year of his deal. This is really a big year for him to where he could come back in 27 on a new deal, and he's a starting center in the league.
Yeah, I watch the offensive line all the time. That's what I played when I played football. So I'm always watching the offensive line and see how they do, go from that perspective. And he concerned me when he first started at center, right? He didn't have a lot of experience. He was getting blown away, thinking too much. But towards the end of the year, I think at the end of the year, he started playing better. So to answer your question, is it a top 10? If they can keep all 5 offensive linemen healthy all year long, yes, I think we are.
I think so too. I really do. Now, Jalen Naylor wasn't a bad wide receiver 3.
No.
I just think that Jauan Jennings, not only his ability with being a receiver, but his ability really matters as far as a blocker. Whether that be with bubble screens, blocking for other wide receivers or running backs, that's really going to come into play. And not to mention that he's going to have opportunities where he's going to insert himself into plays to where, he's going to be disguised to where it looks like, he's in there as a blocker. And because he's known for that, he can also leak out. And now it turns into a big play because they thought it was a run, and now Jauan Jennings is running loose. So there's a little bit of potential trickery and gamesmanship that's going to be had with adding Jauan Jennings and flexibility to what this offense is able to do on the field as far as running the ball or passing the ball that I really like with adding him. Bob Swede says, I hope Claiborne makes some noise. I really think that Claiborne has an opportunity this year if he does well, not only in training camp, but also in some of these preseason games, if he can really shine, because we still got Xavier Scott, and he's got to outshine him enough as well to at least get some additional carries throughout the season, change of pace type things, because our solid 1-2, I don't think that's changing this year. At least for this year, I do think it's just going to be Aaron Jones. It's going to be Jordan Mason. But in 27, I see that changing to more of a Claiborne Mason 1-2 punch. And that's, I do hope that Claiborne gets some run this year, and I think that he will. I just don't think it's going to be as much as maybe some fans hope, unless he absolutely stuns people in training camp and in some of the preseason
or Aaron Jones get hurt again.
Or Aaron Jones gets hurt. Yep, unless there's an injury for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be fun to watch him. I'm definitely looking forward to the preseason games to watch him. See what he can do.
Yeah, TJPDX says, great take, Mark. Watching the offensive line first, then finding the ball is almost a cheat code. You can tell if it's going to go well or poorly most plays. Absolutely.
Yep.
If there's a breakdown on the line, I mean, sometimes that entire play is going to fall apart because, some of these plays take a little time to develop. And if you don't have, cohesion on that offensive line and chemistry, it's going to be a bad day for everyone, just like we saw last season for a lot of the times where we had so many different line combinations because of the injuries. You're putting in individuals that have never played the position. Blake Brandell did a pretty good job, but you saw that we had some, weird snaps, weird plays as well too. Because he's just not used to playing that position, or you got swing tackles that are playing right tackle one week and left tackle the next week, and it's hard to really get things going when that's happening. So for sure. Northvia says Jennings and Jettas both can throw the ball too. It's crazy. We got 3 JJs on the team now.
That's true.
So, yeah, I mean, some funky things, could happen. We've seen Justin Jefferson throw the ball. Jauan Jennings is known to throw the ball too. Little tweaks. I mean, hopefully we're not having to do a lot of those trick plays. I mean, with the offensive power that we have, hopefully we're just able to stick it to teams for sure.
Did you speak real quick on Jennings?
Yeah.
Do you know his first name is actually Benny? So now we have Benny and the Jets. Thought I had to throw that one in there as my dad joke for the night.
I don't have the music keyed up.
Sorry, I should have warned you. I should have warned you.
I should have had it
keyed
up. Zoe from In the Zone Sports says Mason's last year. I think Mason stays. I think we'll see what happens this year, but I think he's played well enough and he's young enough to where I think even if he's not our number one, I don't think there's any reason why he couldn't stay as either a number one or number two, depending on how this year goes. I actually think he did a pretty good job last year. I think just the stats, if you look into them, just shows that we didn't run enough. He didn't get enough opportunities, but when he did, he actually did pretty decent. So we just needed to run the ball a little bit more, and I think a healthier line's also going to help that, and adding another run blocker like Jauan Jennings also helps that line as well. All right, what else? Jays are backing up the toilet. The Jays are backing up the toilet at the U.S. Bank. I'm not really sure what you mean by that one, Bob. Maybe I'm missing that one. But all right, back to the question though. You said yes.
I said yes.
On Vikings offense, is it a top 10 in 2026? You guys in the comments, is the Vikings offense, can it be a top 10 offense in 2026? If we have, the biggest question is if we have competent quarterback play, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at least on paper, looking at this, man, there's no reason why we shouldn't, unless Kyler Murray's not able to pick up the offense. He has injuries. And then if that's the case, J.J. McCarthy didn't make as big of a step as we hoped or that we have heard that he may have taken. So I do think with that quarterback situation that we have going on, it's going to be great for both players. Typically, when you see quarterbacks like this in a contract year or any player in a contract year, you're going to get their best. We know that we're going to get Kyler Murray's absolutely best effort this year because he knows not only is he playing for a contract, this is maybe his last shot to show that he deserves to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Because if it doesn't go well here in this situation with this offense on paper, he's probably not getting another chance somewhere else. Not as a starter initially. He's going to have to earn his way back somehow.
Yep.
So you're going to get his absolute best effort in training camp and on the field. So unless it's an injury, this guy's going to be giving you 100%. I do love the story that, he's a Vikings fan growing up. I think that's awesome as well too. But it'll be interesting to see because, JJ McCarthy, I'm hoping he takes a huge step too and makes things difficult. And depending on what happens this season into next and contract wise, I'm hoping we have two great options to look at. I really am. So Northfield says new nickname for Mason and Claiborne, the Smash and Dash. That could be.
I like it.
Bob Sweet says if Murray stays healthy, watch out, we're loaded. And the way I see it, North says, is you need a top 12-ish offense and a top D to win it all. And maybe, a follow-up question to that is, do we have a top 10 defense? We were top 5 last year. We lost Hargrave. We lost Allen, replaced them with Caleb Banks. Can he still stay healthy? Big Dom Orange. We can't forget that we have Levi Rodriguez, Tyrion Ingram, Dawkins, and also Elijah Williams. All those guys probably making big leaps this year too. I think the interior line could be just sneaky good for us this year. And then at the same time, what kind of jump does Dallas Turner make in year 3? Can Andrew Van Ginkel stay healthy? Is Harrison Smith back? How solid are we at safety? And who starts if there is no Harrison Smith? Is Jacoby Thomas ready to come in as a rookie 3rd-round draft pick from Miami to take over Harrison Smith's job in that spot? We don't know if we were sold at our other safety position. Theo Jackson, and Jay Ward, who's starting at that safety position. So those are questions also. And we have to kind of take a look at that. But I do think that we have the potential still yet on this offense. Jalen Redmond was a beast last year. I only expect him to get just as good, if not better, this year. I think we have the potential to be a top 10. I'm not going to say top 5 yet because there's just some new rookies. No Harrison potentially. So I don't want to say top 5. Could it happen? Sure. But top 10. And if we can have top 10 defense and top 10 offense, hey, we're rolling, boys. We're rolling.
Yep.
All right. Two Tone says SKOL, and hopefully that was from what I'm saying. Yeah. So what do you think on the defense? Are we possibly sitting on a top 10 defense then too?
I do. I think they have already been there. Hargrave and Allen, they just didn't play up to the potential, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did they really make any plays that you remember? Okay, they made a few pushes, but I don't remember. They didn't stand out. They didn't jump off the tape. The old jump off the tape to me, right? None of that really happened to me. So if Caleb Banks can stay healthy, I think, I think that interior push, and I do think Dallas Turner makes the leap in year 3. I saw some flashes and those sort of things. He just needs to get out there and play every play. Get him out there and let him go. I think we've got some of the depth in there. I like some of the free agents that you said get an extra edge. That's out there. Come in cheap. Awesome. I think that'd be great. But I think we've got the team and the defense to come in. And again, health, right? Cashman went out for how many games, and what did the defense kind of took a little down dip in there while he was out for a while. So again, you got to stay healthy.
Right.
So it's really easy to say yes with health.
All right. So now with this, before I get into the next topic, I have to mention this, and I have to give a shout out to Norris. Norris was, actually the fan link that I text out, and he was able to link me up with a really good get. So just so you guys know, I have an upcoming interview that's coming up for none other than Coach Greg Holcomb. So he is a quarterback coach for Next Level Athletics. He's the former quarterback coach of J.J. McCarthy since he was in 7th grade. And we did see here this spring, and they're still talking and stuff like that. But he did do some work with John Beck this spring out in California, a different quarterbacks coach. That doesn't mean he's gonna not work with Greg Holcomb anymore, but that's who he was working with this spring. But upcoming podcast with him, May 23rd, 9
That's
p.m.
awesome.
CST live. So make sure that you're joining, asking your questions. This is awesome to be able to have him on, talk about what we may see from J.J. McCarthy and his growth coming into this year and what he thinks he can take as far as steps. And we're gonna kind of talk about this last season, the good and the bad, and some of the criticisms, fair, not fair, maybe for J.J. McCarthy, and just where can he go from here? And some of those individuals that, I'm not one to say that J.J. McCarthy is a bust yet.
No.
10 games is too early to me, whether it's with the Vikings or another team. He's still really young. So I think that there's time there. This is going to be a fascinating interview. Thank you, Norris, for helping me as far as linking me up with Greg. Great. He was a great talk over the phone. I'm excited to have him on the show and be able to share him with you guys and be able to ask questions to Greg. So that's going to be coming up on May 23rd at 9 p.m. CST. And I will tell you, I don't have it completely locked in. I need to see if he sent me another interview, but I have another exciting interview potentially coming up here soon. I don't have a date completely locked in yet, but I can tell you that it's a former Viking that's also possibly trying to make we'll see, trying to make an NFL team that's currently playing with the UFL that's going to be with us here coming up, hopefully soon. Once I have a date from him locked in, I'll make sure that I share that with you guys. So really excited to do that as well. We got D Woods in the house. Yo, 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 he says. Brev says we're whooping they're behind, my brother. All right. All right. Brev, what's the score right now? All right. He says 4-1 at the end of the second. He's talking about the Wild Avalanche game. This is great. We need to get back into it. At the beginning of the pod, Mark told me it was 2-0. So really excited with that. Very excited.
I got the game on my second monitor.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. Brev's watching the Wild game, but he's popping in and say what's up. Brev, you see this, man? Gonna have Greg Holcomb on May 23rd. Really excited for that. Cool stuff. I'll be doing an article as well too on Greg on Purple PTSD. It's gonna be a really exciting thing to do, is to have him on here. So exciting stuff. So, all right. Now with that, don't forget, before we get into our last topic, I want to make sure that you guys know you have a chance to win, again, that Jordan Addison autographed jersey. All you have to do is be a YouTube subscriber to Vikings Playbook. That's Vikes Playbook on YouTube. Check it out. Jordan Addison jersey. Got it right here. All you got to do is be a subscriber. And once we reach 250 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away that jersey. I have more autographed jerseys from different players. Also, some mini helmets that we're going to be doing throughout the season. But I'm trying to get some different goals, get some different subscribers. So help me out, share the pod, and let's get them up there, and let's do some fun giveaways. And like I said, at the end, we're going to be doing this eclectic signature card break, and one of you could be a lucky winner to get that card. I actually pulled a rookie Arizona State Cam Scatabo the other day from these, and what else did I pull? An Eli Manning. What else did I pull? A Carnell Tate. What else did I pull? A Bo Jackson. Trying to think what else I pulled here recently. A Jackson Dart. So some cool cards that I'm able to pull in there with the card break. So cool stuff for sure. And last topic that we're going to talk about as we get in here is going to be, I see, Norris, you have been helping. I appreciate it, brother. The last topic that we're going to talk about is going to be the too early 2026 schedule preview. So the schedule actually comes out May 14th, so we don't know exactly what date everyone plays everyone, but we do know what teams the Minnesota Vikings are going to play. So we don't know if they're playing on Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football. We don't know if they're playing in London or what that looks like exactly. But we do have an idea of what the schedule looks like. So here's the 2026 schedule as it currently sits. So with that, home opponents, we have the Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, and Green Bay Packers division opponents. So we have them home and we have them on the road. But at home, we also get the Atlanta Falcons, probably Tua starting for them in Atlanta. Carolina Panthers coming to town. They had an improved team last year. The Buffalo Bills, exciting last time we played the Bills. The Miami Dolphins, and we get to see what that's going to look like with, really just an absolute dismantling of that team. Change at quarterback as well too. So we'll have to see what kind of Miami Dolphins team that we're facing there. That might be the replacements type team with all the offseason moves they made to try to bring in. But they did bring in a lot of draft picks. They acquired a lot of draft picks, so they got a lot of young rookies that they're excited about. But for this year, it might be a little bit tough. Washington Commanders as well too, and then the Indianapolis Colts. And Indianapolis had a good year before the injuries that they had to Daniel Jones, but we get to see Daniel Jones, if he's healthy, of course, at home here in Minnesota. On the road, we have to face our division opponents, and then we get the Saints and Tyler Shuck. He's really been coming on as a rookie last year. Only expect him to get even better this year. Tampa Bay, that's going to be a tough team to play no matter when. Baker Mayfield's always going to play you tough. New England Patriots with Drake May. We get the Jets. That's a sneaky one. The Jets are a sneaky one, and you're thinking, yeah, they got Geno, but then they added some pieces. And now the Jets look like they have something to work with maybe. So might not be as an easy game as we think in New York. And then we have to play the San Francisco 49ers. Now, we get a third place schedule. But when I look at the schedule, is this a third place schedule?
It looks tougher than that.
It looks tougher than that. It does. Carolina was a tough team last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I think Atlanta, no matter what, is going to be, somewhat of a tough team. Buffalo, that's going to be a difficult game. Commanders, what team are you going to get? What Jaden Daniels are you going to get? Indianapolis Colts, if they're healthy, could be okay, but they lost Michael Pittman too. We take a look at Tampa Bay, and I just think that's always going to be a tough game whenever you play Tampa. Saints are an improved team. The Patriots with Drake May. Hey, they were great last year, but we find out this year if they're a paper tiger because of their schedule. But they still had to beat teams in the playoffs, and they beat them. They had some timely injuries to like Bo Nix when they played, so that helped them out a little bit too. Jets are an improved team from last year, and the Niners are going to be tough. And it kind of depends for us. When do we play the Niners? George Kittle's injured right now, so when do we get to face him? Is it later in the season when Kittle's back, or do we get him early without Jauan Jennings? What's your thoughts on the schedule, Mark?
I think it's a tough schedule. I know we just talked about, will they have a top 10 offense, top 10 defense, and I think we will. But, man, there's some tough games in here. There, you kind of go, there's not many of them that you can just take a breath and go, all right, we got it this week, right? I don't care where you're going in there. I'm concerned on all of the games, but I think we're gonna come out all right. I was just thinking about that Tampa Bay Bucks in Tampa. I actually went to that game the last time they played in Tampa.
Yeah.
And our kicker missed 5 field goals. And it was just painful sitting there in my purple jersey watching them just be there. I still remember it. But I'll go again this year. I'll go cheer them on and go from there.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of team we get for sure with this. But, yeah, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I got to think that, this team and who we face is going to be – it's going to be a different team that – we got better this year on offense. One could say we didn't get better on defense. Losing Grenard doesn't make us better.
No.
How ready are our young rookies on the interior is a question, and not having Harrison Smith. So our defense, could it be good? Yeah, absolutely. If our inside defensive linemen, Orange and Banks, if they're as advertised, yeah, that line is good. I think we still need to add, like we talked about, maybe another edge for depth. But the backside at safety, what's going on there? We don't know. We don't know our safety positions, and you did see one of our writers was saying adding Xavier Woods. That could be a thing. I don't know when we're going to find out for sure if Harrison Smith's coming back, but hopefully we get some news soon. Maybe Jauan Jennings was enough to push him over the hump to where, he signed for $8 million. There is enough room to sign a Clowney and bring back Harrison Smith now at $8 million.
Yep.
Northria says the Jets are going to Browns and the Browns are going to Jets. That's great, dude. Oh, man. All right. So, if you had to look at the schedule, and I'm just going to go through each one, and it's way too early. And, Mark, what I want you to do, and you already know what I'm going to ask you to do.
Yep.
I want you to tell me, are they going to win or are they going to lose? All right. So, at home, Chicago, they going to win or lose?
Yes, we win at home.
We win. Detroit at home, do we win or lose?
We will win that one as well at home.
We beat them both times last year. We split with Chicago last year. We lost with our Green Bay opponent. So Green Bay at home. Do we get Green Bay?
I think we'll lose that one at home.
Okay. All right. How about Atlanta at home?
That's a win. Who knows if Tua even plays, or if we get Penix.
Okay. Connecticut, he says, "What's up?" Eric, we're just going through some win losses on the schedule. We don't know what weeks we're playing them, but that's what we're going through right now. So right now, we're through four of these games. We got 3 wins. We're 3-1. We have Carolina Panthers at home, but we win or lose that.
That's a win.
Okay, we're at 4 wins. Buffalo Bills at home.
That's a loss.
Okay, so we're 4-2 now at this point. Miami at home.
That's a win.
Washington at home.
A win.
Indianapolis at home.
And a win.
Okay,
because those are at home. Yep.
7-2 now. Now we go to the road opponents. Chicago on the road. It's hard to win in Chicago.
That's a tough one. I'm going to say that's a loss.
What about at Detroit?
At Detroit, I'll also put a loss.
Okay, Green Bay.
I'm going to say we win there. We split, but it's the opposite.
Okay, New Orleans.
That's a win.
Tampa Bay.
Oh. I think Tampa Bay lost some players this year that they're going to be
Mike
tough.
Evans.
Mike Evans is gone. Amika's there. I'm going to put that as a win.
Patriots.
Depends on what time of year. If it's late in the year in New England, I'll put a loss on that.
Jets.
That's a win.
Niners.
That's a loss. I don't even know where I ended up.
11 wins. 11 wins. So we're looking at an 11-win season. So that's
I like Bob's optimism. 17-0.
Clearly 17-0. Bob is seeing everything clearly for sure.
Not through purple colored glasses at all.
Bob Swede says 17-0.
Got the horn going.
All right. So, 11 wins, if that happens, I mean, obviously,
I think it's doable.
We should be a playoff team at that point with 11 wins. I agree with you. I think it's doable. I think we're probably should be in that 10 range, close to that 10, and that would be a good over under. I think is 9.5, 10 is a good over under number for this Viking squad. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But that's what we're looking at right now. Any other predictions?
Currently,
if this is the schedule.
Currently Vegas has us at 8.5, over and under on 8.5.
Yeah, I think that's low. I take the over on that for sure.
I was gonna say I might have to go put some money on that one.
Absolutely, Eric.
Not that I condone betting.
Eric, looking at this schedule, Norse, Bob, SKOL, Brev, if you're still here, what do you think? This schedule with home and road, Mark is saying 11 wins. What do you guys think? Can we get more than 11, or is Mark overplaying his hand here? What do you guys think?
Pretty quiet over there.
Give you a few seconds.
Nobody wants to go on record.
Yeah, it's too early.
It's way too early.
We don't know what's going to happen with it.
Right. It's way too early. You don't know what time of year. Playing in Green Bay in September versus Green Bay in December. Same thing with New England.
North says 11 is fair. SKOL Mafia says, I think we can get 12. All right. I like it. Hey, since you guys are in, and some of you guys have done this before, again, we're going to do our card break. So what I'm going to need from you guys is an NFL team and a college team. So, Mark, you can do this as well, too. You can go ahead and put your teams in the comments, but I need an NFL team from you. And once it's taken, it's taken. Okay, so an NFL team and a college team. NFL team and a college team, because I could pull a college player out of here. It could be Tennessee Volunteers. could be the Texas Longhorns. Norris Via says he's got the Vikes and Florida State for Norse. I already know where Kinetic's going, unless someone beats him. Oh my gosh, that just happened. That just happened.
Had to get it in quick.
Mark goes Chargers, Michigan Wolverines, SKOL Mafia. You were just a second late.
Sorry.
And actually, SKOL Mafia, both of your teams are taken. The Vikings are taken. Michigan is taken. So I need a new NFL team from you and a different college team as well, SKOL Mafia. So, again, if you pick the team, you get the card. So if this is a signed autograph card that comes out of this pack, or if it's a $200-$300 card that could come out of here, this is going to you guys. So what I need is your team of the NFL and your team college. Bills and LSU from SKOL Mafia. Okay, I'll see if I get any more in here from you guys that come in. So again, go ahead and throw it in chat. And if you guys want to see someone win a free Jordan Addison autographed jersey, need I say more? Become a subscriber of Vikings Playbook at Vikes Playbook on YouTube. Once we get to 250, we're going to go ahead and randomly give away a signed, autographed, certified Jordan Addison jersey. And that's going to go to somebody out there that is going to be able to cherish that. These are framing type jerseys. So, hopefully you're the lucky one that wins it. But we got to make it to 250 first. And I have other giveaways planned all this season. So exciting stuff coming your way with Vikings Playbook all seasons long. All right, I got Bob Swede goes Lions and Gophers. Richard goes Bears and OSU. Kinetic is going to go with the Ravens and the ECU Pirates. That's a random college team. He's going in with ECU. And then T. Kubler's got Cowboys in Indiana. You know what? If this is an ECU Pirate, Eric, if this is an ECU Pirate, legend, dude. Legend. Northfield says he's got a frame just waiting.
That's we had awesome. 2 Ohio States out there.
We had 2 Ohio States. Who was the
TJP?
Yep. TJP DX had Ohio State first. So he has Bengals and Ohio State. So Richard, you have the Bears, but I need a different college team than Ohio State. So go ahead, throw that back in chat. You got the Bears, and I just need a different college team from you. Kinetic says he's going with Purple Power with both teams, with the Ravens and the ECU Pirates. You don't really keep it with Purple Power with your Michigan Wolverines, but he doesn't play with that. Richard's going to go Bears and Penn State.
Curtis Enos, that's the card combo.
All right, we're going to go ahead and rip this. We're going to rip her live, so you guys know I'm not playing with you. Next time when I do a podcast, I'm going to make sure that I bring some of these banger cards that I've ripped lately out of these, because it's hard not to rip some of these myself, right? It's hard not to do that. Once I can get this open here. It's pretty good seal on this sucker. All right. Somebody's getting a card today.
Nice.
Somebody's getting a card today. So one of you guys got it, and I just need to get to it. I don't know who it is, though. Here, we'll turn it to the side so you guys can see it. See a little bit of yellow, right?
Yep.
LSU. Who is that? SKOL Mafia. That is Colin Hurley. He's a quarterback for LSU. That's a 1 of 1. Colin Hurley.
Nice. Congrats.
If you want to just message me, SKOL Mafia. He picked. I apologize. Yeah, SKOL Mafia. He had to switch. He went Bills and LSU.
So you're welcome.
Mafia. SKOL Mafia. You had to repick your teams, but on the second chance, You got it right. So this 101, Colin Hurley on the Flash Leaf, that's going to you. You're our first winner on this Flash or on this card break that we've been doing. So Kinetic says Hurley was a Wolverine for half a semester, but got beat out by true freshman Tommy Carr and left the team. Well, this card is going to SKOL Mafia, and if Colin Hurley turns out to be something, hey, you got a card that could be worth a little bit of something. So SKOL Mafia, go ahead, just privately message me. You can message me on Vikings Playbook or my @Steve Hoikla, either one, and I'll go ahead and I can get this card sent out to you. So congratulations to SKOL Mafia. That's pretty cool. Good stuff. Remember, coming up, and I don't have it set out yet, but Greg Holcomb, he's already set up for May 23rd at 9 p.m. CST. Excited. He's J.J. McCarthy's former quarterback coach from 7th grade through 2005, midway through the year last year, and then he was working with John Beck here this spring. But Greg Holcomb has some incredible insight on, a kid that's basically been like a son to him, and that's J.J. McCarthy. So we're going to talk a lot of J.J. McCarthy on May 23rd. Make sure that you're joining us for that. I think next week we're going to end up having SKOL Doc on with us. I do potentially have a former Vikings player. I don't have the date yet. That's currently playing in the UFL. That's trying to get back on an NFL team, hoping to be on a training camp. Not going to say who the player is yet until I have it locked in, but that's another one that's coming up hopefully soon as well, too. As soon as I have it, I can lock that in. But yeah, Norsefield says, hells yeah. Let's go, Greg. Make us proud. Appreciate it, Norse. You're the man for helping to hook that up for sure, man. Absolutely. Kinetic says their mom, Tammy, and he's talking about
Colin.
Said Tommy. Oh, okay. Tommy's the better quarterback and better athlete, and that even CJ knows it. That's funny. But check that out. Greg Holcomb coming up May 23rd. Next week, SKOL Doc is who I'm planning on having on with me next week. And then again, get to 250, put the word out, put the bat signal out, tell people to follow Vikings Playbook because I can't wait to make sure that I can do a giveaway to one of you Vikings fans out there for this signed Jordan Addison jersey. So make sure that you're putting the word out. We're over 100. We're at 105 right now, continuing to build on that. So great job on subscribing. Set your alerts as always so you're never missing a stream. And Mark, I can't thank you enough for joining me tonight. It was actually kind of a short notice ad. So Mark, thanks for joining me as
Absolutely.
well.
Love to join.
And if you're not already following Mark, you can go ahead and check out what Mark has going on. He's with me on Fantasy 15 Football on X, and he's also on fantasy15football.com writing articles for us as a contributor. And you can follow his personal X, Bleeds Purple, BLDZ Purple on X. So Mark Anderson, super fan, thanks for joining me tonight. And as always, guys, this has been Vikings Playbook. Your Sunday starts here. And for Vikings Playbook, SKOL, have a great weekend. We're out here. Love you guys.